Hi guys, it's Matt with Muay Thai with Roxy Richardson at Function 5. So I met you a little while ago at the Muay Thai America tryouts, and I was in LA, so I want to sit down and sort of talk to you. How did you get into fighting?
I got into fighting, it was about 10 years ago, and I just happened to be dating a guy in Philadelphia that was into Muay Thai, and I just wanted to see what he did. I was just bartending at the time, kind of a party girl, and I didn't really work out too much. I kind of went to like ballets and did like something, but I wasn't really sure what. Then I started training with him, and I was like, this is pretty cool. I really liked it, like how intense it was. And then I moved shortly after that to Los Angeles, and I didn't know anyone, so I found a gym here, which was one of the only gyms at the time. It was the MTA in North Hollywood, and I started training there, and I just went like every day, like just as much as I could. I didn't have a job. I still couldn't. It took me a long time to find a job in LA. It was really hard. And I just trained Muay Thai, and then they asked me, like, they were like, do you want to fight? I was like, I've never considered that, but I didn't want to say no, like, you know, some like 50-year-old Thai guy's like, you fight, and I'm like, you're like, okay, I fight, and I just did, and it honestly was like a pretty traumatic experience. Like, it was just like overwhelming, like it was like, you know, nerve-wracking and exciting and overwhelming, and I don't even remember like a lick of it, and I don't know where the video went. It's probably pretty funny. Yeah. But it was like, it was a draw, and I was like, well, that was crazy. And I really didn't have much intention of doing it again, but people keep asking you, after you fight, when are you going to fight again? Yeah. I was like, man, I get to do it again? I was like, all right, I'll train and do it. I mean, I love the training. I thought it was awesome. And I fought again, and in my second fight, I knocked the girl out, and I was like, that was pretty cool. I was like, I could do that, you know? It was like, so after that, I started taking the training a little more seriously, and then I switched gyms. I was living in Hollywood, so there was another gym opening up called Bomb Squad with Chris Riley, and I started training with him, and that was good because it was with the language barrier, so it was a little hard to train with the Thais, and Chris had lived in Thailand, and he was definitely like, a professional Muay Thai fighter and everything, but he had a good way of explaining things to me, and I just really needed that, so he helped me with my hands a lot. And then there was another coach there, Paolo Tocha, and they were kind of running the gym together, so I was training with them both. And in my third fight, I fought Gina Carano, who no one knew at the time. And that was
This was like 2003, 4?
Yeah, I want to say, right around there. Yeah. And I was like traumatic, and no one had hit me that hard. And it went through rounds, and it definitely lost that fight. She was just a bigger, stronger girl. Yeah, I think I've seen her before. She is bigger. Yeah, she's a lot bigger than me. Like, I watched the video, and I'm like, whoa, I look tiny. And the video actually surfaced a little while ago. Like, Kevin Ross gave me a copy, and I was like, oh no, it's going to be horrible. And it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. Like, I felt so in my head as being this horrible thing. She just like was more active. And so I felt like that was my first loss. I was like, I had to kind of came to like a point where I was like, I gotta like do this, or not do it. And I just made the decision to do it. I didn't have a single other loss on my record doing smokers. Back then, everyone did smokers before they jumped, because sanction was not padded here. Right. So I did tons of smokers. So I did like, I don't know, like 8 smokers. I didn't lace any smokers, and then went sanctioned. I guess when was that? 2004, 2005. I want to say. I think I might have fought June in 2003, maybe even 2002.
And then you fought for a while in an amateur career. Then you fought a handful of times professionally too, right? I fought 3 professional fights. I turned pro, what was that? It was about 2 years ago? Yeah, 2 years ago, I think. And I fought a number of times as an amateur, and it was fairly easy to get fights, although it still wasn't as popular as it is today. And it was non-padded, and I always fought like more than 3 rounds. Like my sanctioned debut was a 5-round title fight, and then like I always fought like 5-rounders. I fought a few 4-rounders, which I don't recommend. It's like retarded, and it's like go to a draw, or it's like weird.
But Dennis, for some reason, would add 4 rounders to the card.
Dennis Warner.
Yeah, I fought a lot for him because he was the only promoter at the time. So pretty much like that was the only thing we were doing. I fought, as an amateur, I fought in Canada, which was a really awesome experience. I fought Sandra Bastian when she was still amateur, and you got to fight with the elbow pads, and full rules, knees to the head, everything. And that was really cool.
No shin guards, just the elbow pads?
Just elbow pads, yeah. And which was good because you get that experience of training for elbows, and that was awesome.
That's like the big way of learning how to fight with elbows.
Yeah.
You fight with elbows.
Yeah. No, that was cool. I wish that they would do that in California.
Yeah. What do you like and dislike about fighting?
I love the challenge of it. I mean, it's just become my life. So, I mean, I love everything about it. I like the intensity of the training. I even like the kind of like deprivation part of the training where it's just like, you're suffering for it. And I like that whole thing. And I like how you learn something about yourself every time you fight, and you get that much more, that much better, and you become different as a fighter, and then also as a person after each fight, I feel like.
Yeah, for sure.
That's pretty cool. I like that. And then teaching has been a big part of my life pretty early on. Thanks to Coach Riley, I started apprenticing under him, and I started instructing. And so I felt like, although I wasn't a great, awesome professional fighter, when I started teaching, I moved up together. Like the teaching helped my fighting, and the fighting helped my teaching, and I just loved it so much. I started doing getting into the whole fitness thing with personal training and weightlifting and all that stuff as well.
What do you feel like you've learned personally from fighting?
I've learned that I have a lot more strength than I thought I did. I wasn't a particularly athletic kid. I did play on some sports, but I didn't excel at them. I was never first string or anything like that. I mean, that's probably the most valuable lesson for me, just having personal strength and going through all the mental challenges of fighting and being able to, overcome those each time. And, it's so much more of a mind game than a lot of other sports. So for me, that was definitely challenging. And I see, I train other fighters, and I see them just get so excited about fighting, which is great, and they get all excited when I tell them I have a fight. I was so not like that in the beginning. People tell me I have a fight, and I'd be like, oh my god. And I would just get incredibly nervous, and I'd be like, I was a wreck, for a while, and I don't know exactly when I got over that. I mean, it definitely was for maybe the first 15 fights or something. It's interesting to see that I'm training these girls now, and I'm give a fight, and they're like, yes, and they just get so pumped, and they're excited the whole time. I'm like, whoa, you're much more of a natural than I was.
Yeah. What do you like about training fighters?
It's super rewarding. I mean, especially with the women. I mean, I don't train any guys to fight. I would, but they don't usually come to me to fight. I'd hope to in the future. I mean, I think I could, definitely. But a lot of girls, gravitate towards my program because there are a lot of women here, and it's just cool to teach them what I know and pass it on. If someone gave it to me for free, and I'm happy to give it to them for free. So a lot of the girls that I've trained have stepped up, and they've started assisting with the classes, and they started getting certified as personal trainers, and working that side of the gym with me too. And it's just cool to give them a little bit. It changed my life so much, and I can see what it does for them. So I like to pass it on and see people's lives get better because of Muay Thai. Because definitely mine got a lot better. Yeah.
Do you see a big difference between male and female fighters?
A little bit. I mean, it depends on the person. I feel like women tend to be slightly more technical, or at least concerned about getting things perfect, concerned about the technicality of stuff. Oftentimes I have to teach them how to be aggressive and teach them how to really have that killer instinct.
Yeah.
Because most girls don't have that off the bat. They're taught on the playground, don't push. Girls don't push. Girls don't grab and throw and all that stuff. And then you got to teach them to do that.
It's okay.
Yeah, that it's fine. It's expected, and that that girl opposite you in the ring, maybe a really nice girl, but when you get in there, she's not a nice girl.
Don't be so nice.
My coach used to be like, Roxy, when you go in there, you just gotta know you gotta beat a bitch's ass. Like, that's your goal. And I'm like, okay. But like, he got that out of me, and like, I was able to channel some of that aggressive energy in a good way. And I think everyone has that in them, male or female. I just think society and also like, just chemical makeup and hormones like make women slightly less aggressive. There are some definitely aggressive women out there though. Just not the ones I train.
What are some of your goals with fighting?
I feel like, you know, I turned pro a few years ago, and it's been really challenging to get some fights. It's not like the pro female Muay Thai scene in America is not as vibrant and, you know, abundant as the one in Europe and Australia. So it's been a bit of a challenge, and I don't know, maybe I would have stayed amateur if I'd known exactly how hard it was going to be. I felt like I was really lucky when I first turned pro, and I just got a couple fights, and they flew girls in for me from England, and I was like, this is awesome, you know. And since then, you know, I took a little time off to open up a business, but it's been really hard booking a fight. It seems like there's no promoters want to fly any girls in, and there's very limited amount of girls for me to fight here. And it's like me moving up a weight class, or them moving up a weight class, and which just is like, or me fighting girls that are really into MMA and they're not really Muay Thai fighters. And it's like, I have those options, but those aren't like great options. I feel like as a professional Muay Thai fighter, I should be able to fight someone my weight who also fights Muay Thai.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
It's just, you know, that would be the best case scenario. So, you know, I have my gym, and, you know, I'd like to be like, yeah, I'm going to be the best professional fighter in the world, and that would be awesome, and keep going. But it's like, there's so many setbacks that, like, at some point, you know, I'm just going to kick back and decide to be a teacher. I don't know exactly when that's going to happen, but, you know, I know I got a few more in me.
For sure. You recently started writing articles for Muay Thai Authority about nutrition. How did you get into that? What's sort of your nutrition background?
Well, I got into nutrition from an athlete's perspective. Like, I just was looking for the best possible diet that would help my performance and my health and help my goals. I was raised vegetarian, so my mom got me into health food. Although I stopped being vegetarian. I started eating it when I was 18. And then I just kind of dabbled into different stuff and trying to figure out what was best for me. I read a lot of books, read a lot of literature, and I tried pretty much every diet you could possibly think of. And I took some like standard, like, you know, nutrition certifications, you know, available through different, you know, fitness kind of professional associations, you know, like the one associated with my personal training cert and stuff. And those were just like standard, like Food Pyramid, USDA garbage. And I was like, that was a total waste of time. There was one that was like sports nutrition. I was like, that was a little more interesting, but the book was like totally outdated. I was just like, this is horrible. Is this what's available? You know? And then I talked to people. I was thinking about going to grad school and getting a master's in nutrition. But the more I talked to people, I realized that was a total waste of time too. Anyone that was in the industry doing really good work and knew what they were doing pretty much had to relearn everything. So somehow, I don't exactly remember how I got hooked up with this guy called Sean Croxon. He runs a website called Underground Wellness, and he was awesome. He started putting out these amazing videos, just like kind of, you know, counter mainstream media's educational videos about nutrition. And I started listening to him, I started to research stuff, I started to read the books he recommended, and I was like, this stuff's pretty legit. And he had a certification called Functional Diagnostic Nutrition, and he trained with his mentor, Reed Davis, who does like lab testing. So I started getting into all this lab testing stuff. So I test for hormone imbalances and detoxification pathways and you know, gut pathogens and all this kind of holistic functional medicine type stuff. And that was fascinating to me. So I just like really soaked that up, and I ended up getting certified in that. I took a metabolic typing certification, which I don't really use much anymore. Through my research, I found that I have kind of my own little system that I kind of use, and centered around what they consider now to be the paleo diet. So that's kind of like the buzzword that everyone uses. I just call it real food. Like I say, the way I counsel people to eat is with real food. And so it's based on a whole food diet with lots of fruits and vegetables and organic, grass-fed, pasture-raised meats, wild-caught fish, good fats. And that's the basis of the diet. Now my client and the students that come here, how much they want to buy into that. You know, sometimes they take it piecemeal. Sometimes it's like, okay, well, I'll do all this, but I'm not giving up rice,
Twinkies,
you know, whatever it is,
yeah,
or ice cream or something. And I'm like, all right, that's fine, you know, as long as the concepts are there. And, you know, I'm a full believer in cheat meals. Cheat meals, not cheat days. I think that's a huge mistake people make. They're like, cheat days, and they just go crazy. But, you know, I have a nutrition guide that I wrote, like this 5-6 page nutrition guide that I send out to all the clients when they sign up.
Oh, cool.
And then with the personal training clients, we work really like one-on-one with them, going over their food journals, fine-tuning their macronutrient ratios, changing things according to their goals. And that's I found that's such a huge part of everyone's development, whether they're an athlete or whether they're just like some person that wants to lose weight. The nutrition is definitely the key. Like I could have someone in here 5 days a week and like kick their butt in training, and that doesn't mean that they're going to lose weight and hit their goals and be healthy. There's so much more to that. So that's kind of where the whole like function 5 fitness, there's like 5 pillars of fitness. That's where that word and the number came from. And the 5 pillars are nutrition, strength and conditioning, so you have to add an element of that. Sport and play, which Muay Thai is a big part of. You can't just do Muay Thai and not do any like strength and conditioning, expect to be like a top tier athlete. Like all athletes are doing some form of cross training these days, and if they're not, they should consider it. There's rest and recovery, which is the big one people leave out most of the time.
I noticed you guys were stretching after class. This is the first gym I've ever seen where people stretch after class.
Well, people stretch before a lot, which is kind of weird because it's actually not really good to stretch before you train, especially when you're not warm. We do dynamic warm-ups before class, and then we stretch afterwards, and that's kind of the best sequence to put it in my opinion. Yeah, we promote lots of recovery. So I'd rather see, like, if someone comes in here and they haven't slept, they've gotten, say, like 4 hours of sleep, and they, like, admit to it, I will kick them out of class. Like, I'll be like, that's not acceptable. You coming here is not gonna, there's no goal you're gonna accomplish by training through on 4 hours of sleep. Like, you're just gonna hurt your body. And so try to instill these concepts of like, you gotta eat right, you gotta sleep right, you gotta live right, you gotta,
it's a lifestyle.
All this stuff, And then the last one's mindset. Like just coming in here with a good attitude, you know, being positive, organizing your life in a way that health and fitness is surrounding you. So it's like you've kind of taken that mindset into different areas of your life too. You know, I think that like, it's hard for us as athletes to stay in touch with the average client because they're not doing it necessarily for performance. They're not doing it because they have to, like it's a job, like as athletes it's our job to be fit. And sometimes, you know, they're doing it for someone else even. It's like, you know, their wife's like, yo, you gotta get in the gym, you know, I don't want you to die. They're not even really doing it for themselves. And so I try to teach people like the good lessons they can take out of the gym and take into the world. So it's like, yeah, you're going to learn all these good skills, and you know, as you get better at it, you're going to accomplish things. And things are going to be hard, but you want them to be hard. You know, the working out shouldn't be easy. But then when you accomplish it, like you realize that there's tough things in your life that you can get over, and how good it feels when you get over them. And they go out there in the world, and everything's not quite as tough. Kind of like that Fight Club thing. Like you know, it's like the world is muted. I just said that to my client the other day. I was like, have a good day. And he's like dying. He's like, oh, it's so hard. I had to worry. I was like, just think, the rest of your day is going to be so easy compared to what you just did.
Yeah, it's true.
So it's like, whatever, I don't know, everyone is motivated differently, but whatever I can figure out, it's like how to motivate these people, because, you know.
Do you find it that hard to do diet adjustments for yourself? Like, was it...
No.
You've never had a problem with it?
I play around and tinker with stuff. I try not to get too neurotic about it. I've learned that also is like, I'd rather someone eat the wrong foods with a good attitude than eat all the right foods with a really horrible attitude. Like
this kale is so healthy, but I hate kale.
Yeah, or like like just berating themselves when they don't eat the right thing. You know, eating some ice cream, being like, oh, that was so horrible of me. I shouldn't have done that. It's like, dude, just eat the ice cream. Like, eat the ice cream, be happy about it, and then move on with your life.
Yeah, for sure.
So I try not to get too neurotic, and especially with some of the girls that come to see me, like I can see they're just all tied up in their head about food.
Yeah, it's such a gendered thing.
It is, and fighters too. I mean, they get because we're in a weight controlled sport, and that can be really nerve wracking. You know, and you get a lot of eating disorders going on, like the binge and the cutting weight and then the binging. I mean, Kevin Ross can tell you all about that.
For sure.
But yeah, I try to have a good attitude about my food, and I've come to like a really good place. But I was definitely like, I've definitely been in a bad place with nutrition before, where I'm like weighing and measuring everything and scrutinizing everything. And there is, it's very important to be disciplined in a way, especially with people that are sick already. Like if someone comes into me and they have an autoimmune disorder, they have diabetes, like I am going to they can't afford to like slack on stuff, it's like they gotta really, really clean up their diet hardcore. And that's a different case scenario. For your average person, you can get away with a little more slack, but more importantly, it's just like making eating healthy a part of your life, and then allowing yourself for some leave room so it doesn't get in the way of like living. It's like, sure, alcohol is going to hurt your performance goals. Am I going to tell you never to go have a drink with your friends? Of course not. That's ridiculous.
Be a pretty bum-ass grandmother or something.
One of the people I follow is Rob Wolf, who's amazing, and I've gotten in contact with him, so I consider him like one of my mentors now. If I have a question with a client or a problem, I bounce it off him too. And him and Sean Croxton, they're the best. And he's the author of The Paleo Solution. And he always says, you got to drink enough so it doesn't hurt your performance. So it doesn't hurt your performance, but it optimizes your sex life. And I really like that. And it kind of puts it, and then we're like, what kind of performance are you talking about, Rob? And he's like, that's left up to you. You just said that.
For sure.
But yeah, I try to keep that in mind. Yeah. So yeah, have a life, live it, and it's the same with us athletes. We do the same thing.
Do you have any fights lined up or events or anything?
I am in negotiation right now for a fight, so I can't disclose it yet. I haven't signed a contract, but I'm very excited about that, and if it happens, it'll be in November. So once that's sealed, I'll be happy to announce it. I'm just waiting.
Great. Well, thank you very much for your time. Hopefully we'll hear about the fight soon.
All right. Thank you.
Cool.